In the burn unit of a specialized hospital here in Rio de Janeiro, where I work, fate introduced me to Margarita. I, Thiago, a 25-year-old boilermaker, found myself there due to a work accident that left me with burns on my left arm and part of my back, awaiting reconstructive surgery. However, Margarita's situation was considerably more severe. Her face bore the scars of a domestic accident that had occurred when she was just 17. When I met her, she was 20, and I was 25. In our initial conversations, she shared the painful story of how, while trying to fry potatoes, water inadvertently present in the basin had caused a violent reaction with the hot oil. The resulting steam had engulfed her face, compromising her vision in her left eye. 3 surgeries had already been performed, but the marks remained evident. At that time, she was undergoing an evaluation for future surgical interventions, including a modern technique aimed at correcting deformities in her nose, ear, and lip. Compassion was an unavoidable feeling in the face of her story. Margarita invariably conversed while concealing part of her face with her hands, a gesture that denoted her profound shyness. After a few chance encounters in the hospital, I took the initiative to ask for her phone number, initiating an exchange of messages. The next step was an invitation to go out. Surprisingly, she interpreted my invitation as a joke and initially refused. My intention was genuine, driven by the empathy I felt for her. Margarita revealed that she had isolated herself socially since the accident. I insisted on my invitation, and she finally accepted. Aware of her discomfort in public places, I selected a cinema and a shopping center with less foot traffic for our meeting. The afternoon we shared was pleasant. Afterward, I bought a pizza, and we went to my house for dinner, where she met my parents. Slowly, a deeper feeling began to blossom within me. Margarita saw herself as disfigured, but in my eyes, her beauty transcended the scars. Her vibrant personality and captivating intelligence made her presence valuable. Despite her insecurity regarding her appearance, to me, she was complete. After a few weeks of getting to know each other more intimately, I formalized my feelings and asked her to be my girlfriend. Her reaction was one of disbelief. Subsequently, I underwent surgery to treat my burns. Fortunately, the procedure was successful. During the 3 days of my hospitalization, Margarita stayed by my side, and with each passing day, our bond strengthened. Approximately 4 months later, 2 more surgeries were scheduled for Margarita. The anxiety was palpable for both of us. The first intervention aimed to correct her ear and the left side of her face, while the second would focus on her lips. The first surgery went smoothly, and Margarita was discharged the next day. 2 months later, the time came for the final surgery, which involved a skin graft. She remained hospitalized for 3 days, during which I was present, offering my constant support. After her discharge, the healing period followed, extending for another 2 months, culminating in the removal of the last bandage. All the effort was worthwhile. Margarita's emotion upon seeing herself in the mirror was intense, marked by tears of joy. It had been years since she had contemplated her face without the scars. Although they hadn't completely disappeared, the remaining marks were subtle, almost imperceptible with the use of makeup. Her self-esteem blossomed, and our outings became frequent, without her former apprehension. Margarita's life underwent a significant transformation. Previously insecure about entering the workforce, she started working in a jewelry store in the city's shopping center, in partnership with a cousin. I had also returned to my work, and our common goal was marriage. However, after about 7 months in this new job, I noticed a change in her behavior. She had become irritable, constantly tired, and the frequency of our meetings had drastically decreased. Initially, I attributed this change to her adjustment to the new work routine, but over time, I realized the cause was different. The suspicion that she had met someone else was painfully confirmed. She was cheating on me with a guy who also worked at the mall. The confirmation came through a friend who spotted her in another part of the city, strolling with this man. That day, she had told me she would be working, when in reality, she had the day off. I sent her a message exposing my knowledge of the situation. She did not deny the betrayal and, in her reply, apologized, claiming she had intended to tell me but feared hurting me. She stated that her feelings had changed and that she had fallen in love with someone else. She expressed her regret but emphasized that she couldn't control her feelings and that I should accept the situation. After these messages, contact ceased. She wanted a personal meeting, but I refused. I had no intention of humiliating myself. Margarita's mother, Dona Sita, called me, almost in tears, apologizing for her daughter's actions. She expressed her deep sadness and stated that if she could influence Margarita's choice, she would have chosen me, as she was certain of my love and respect for her daughter. However, she acknowledged her powerlessness in the situation. I thanked her for her kind words, perceiving her genuine sadness for me. I assured her that I was fine and that life goes on. Several months passed without news from Margarita, given the distance between our residences. Occasionally, a cousin of hers, with whom I maintained a friendship, would mention something about her. The last time, he commented on her being in a relationship. Another year passed, and I learned that Margarita was engaged, with the wedding planned and pregnant, which accelerated the preparations. After that, I completely lost contact until, at the birthday party of that same cousin, we met again. If my memory serves me right, it had been over 3 years since I had last seen her. She was holding a little girl in her arms and seemed hesitant to approach. Finally, she mustered the courage and introduced me to her daughter. We talked briefly. She asked if I had gotten married, to which I replied negatively. She then commented on her separation and, with a touch of irony, said, "You know, Tiago, what I did to you, I'm paying for it with interest to this day. My husband lost interest in me after my daughter was born. As you can see, I've gained weight." We hugged quickly, and she said goodbye. That day, I reflected deeply on her words, on the apparent justice of fate. However, I felt no satisfaction in her situation. I wished her no ill will. A few months later, at my workplace, a colleague informed me that a woman was looking for me at the reception, visibly nervous. Intrigued, I went there. To my surprise, it was Margarita. Her appearance had changed. She was thinner and had a desperate look in her eyes. She began to speak hurriedly, begging for my help. Her daughter was seriously ill, needing expensive and urgent treatment, and her ex-husband was offering no support. She had no one else to turn to. I listened to her silently, trying to process the situation. The woman who had left me, who had caused me suffering, was there, in front of me, asking for my assistance. A torrent of conflicting emotions flooded me: hurt, surprise, and, surprisingly, a pang of compassion. I took a deep breath and asked about her daughter's illness and what needed to be done. She explained everything, with tears streaming down her face. The treatment was costly, and time was crucial. At that moment, observing her desperation, I made an unexpected decision. I said I would help. She looked at me incredulously, unable to believe what she was hearing. My motivation was not her, but the child. An innocent child should not be held responsible for the mistakes of her parents. And perhaps, just perhaps, this was a way for me to finally move past this chapter of my life. I helped Margarita with her daughter's treatment. It was not an easy task, it required financial sacrifices, but I did not regret it. The girl recovered, and Margarita thanked me repeatedly, with sincerity in her eyes. Margarita's daughter had the same brown eyes and the same shy smile as my mother, who had passed away as a victim of a domestic accident, a fire caused by a frying pan with water. Margarita never knew this connection, and I never found the courage to reveal it. The irony of fate had brought us together and separated us in ways we could never have imagined.